Wanna go ride bikes? I stole that joke from Tyler White from T-Jack Survival. I thought that was pretty funny when I first heard it, and it kind of it spoke to me because I've always been easily distracted, and I've always been into all kinds of different things. I've never been a specialist of sorts. I've never really focused all of my attention onto one single activity or one specific skill or even career path. I've always been, I'd do something for a little while and then I'd move on to the next and then the next and the next. And what that does, it's a trade-off, right? So what it does is it makes me well-rounded at a lot of things. There's a lot of skills, there's a lot of activities, there's a lot of things that I'm very knowledgeable about. But I'm never, ever, ever going to be as knowledgeable or as highly skilled as that person that specializes in that one aspect of whatever it may be. But that's just kind of how my personality goes. I have so many different hobbies. I have so many different interests, and it's just really hard for me to focus on one thing for too long without getting bored and move on. So if we look at nature, for example, some of the most successful species on the planet, like for example, a raccoon or a coyote or a possum, if we look at those types of animals, the reason that they're so successful and so prolific around the world is that they can eat just about anything. They're not specialists. They can live in just about every environment, from alpine areas down to the bottomland swamps. But then you look at an animal like the stupid panda, for example. They're ridiculous. They only eat one dumb thing. That's it. If something should happen to the bamboo, they're dead. It's ridiculous. So I've always wanted to be more like that raccoon or coyote. I've always wanted to be really well-rounded, not the best at any one thing, but good enough to get the job done. And now when we talk about being a survivalist, well, that's another thing. I've never really been into titles. I don't want to be labeled a survivalist. I don't want to be labeled a prepper. I don't want to be labeled any of that stuff, because you're putting me in a box, and don't put me in a box. I'm so much more than just that one thing. I've never really felt comfortable being labeled as this or that. So I'm just me. This is it. You're looking at me. I've been accused of being a wannabe something every now and then on comments and videos. I'm not a wannabe anything. I guess the only thing I want to be is a better me, and that's pretty much it. I'm not pretending. I'm not copying. I'm not mimicking anyone. This is just what I do. So when you're talking about being a survivalist or a prepper, back on task here. I got distracted again. Squirrel. When you talk about being a survivalist or a prepper, is it better to be a specialist? Is it better to be somebody that dives into, let's say, radios, and be like that expert that knows everything about communications? Because that person, that expert on that one subject, will be extremely valuable to their community if that need should arise. However, on the other end of the spectrum, someone like myself that's well-rounded and not an expert of anything, nothing. I'm a useful individual to my community because I can pretty much take care of most things. Most jobs that are needed to be done, I can probably have at least a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of insight on the ins and outs of how to do them, whatever it may be. Taught myself how to juggle when I was about 12 years old. Oh, still not very good at it because I never specialized in the circus. So in my opinion, when we're talking about survival or preparedness, I think it's much more beneficial to be that well-rounded coyote, the multi-tool, as opposed to your specialist that only knows the one thing. He's the primitive guy that only knows how to rub sticks together. I think that stuff's fantastic, and I'm not knocking it at all. If that's you, good on you, and I really respect it, and I think that I can learn a lot from those experts, those specialists, and those are the people that I would reach out to for more information on a specific subject. But me, I'll never be one of those people. my breakdancing career never took off either. Now don't get me wrong, there's things that I'm really good at. There's things that I'm skilled at, highly skilled at. And there's some people out there that might consider me an expert in that field. I would never say that about myself, but I've never been the best at any one thing, which is, you know, when you say it out loud, it's like, man, that kind of sucks. I've never been the best at anything. Man, I really wish I was. I wish I was the best, you know, sprinter in the world. I wish I was the best, I don't know, computer programmer. But I'm none of those things. I'm just me, and I do what I do, as my nephew likes to say. But going back to being that specialist, I think nature might punish a specialist, but I think society rewards that specialist, because if you want to make a lot of money, you want to be immensely successful, if that's how you want to look at it, as financial success, you need to, you know, you need to pump all of your energy into that one thing and be the best at it. Make that product that you're making the best that it can possibly be. And I think there's a lot to be said about that. So I'm always in this internal struggle of like, should I focus this, like my YouTube channel, for example. It's never been just about survival or just about, you know, prepping or just about adventure. It's kind of just all the things that I'm interested in, all of my distractions in life. So, I don't, a lot of people, like my wife who's holding the camera right now, she tells me that I need to have a more specific channel. I need to have something that's only this one narrow thing. And I get that. That would make a channel more successful. I think that those channels that are just about motorcycles, they're really successful because that's what people go there to watch. And if you divulge from that, you're gonna lose views, you're gonna lose subscribers possibly. But I just got to be me, and I got to make my channel the way that I am. I've got to do what I do. And if that's at the sacrifice of having a few less subscribers or a few less views, you know, maybe that's it. But I'm just going to continue to do what I do. And I, you know, making content on one tiny, narrow subject is so hard. I mean, coming up with content ideas just in general is not that easy. That's one of the harder parts of doing this stuff. But so that's why I just kind of, whatever I'm interested in, whatever I'm working on that day or that week or whatever, that's what I'm gonna bring you guys along for, bring you along on the ride. So let's say you are that specialist, like you're the herbologist and that's your thing, and you know everything about these plants. I think that's fantastic, but I think at the same time, it's really important to be flexible, to be adaptable. And just because you've kind of locked yourself into that really narrow realm and you're extremely successful at it, just because you've locked yourself into that doesn't mean that you can't stray from it if needed. Let's say if you're a guy that, you know, is in the airline industry and suddenly COVID hits and the airline shut down, and that's all you've ever done, that's all you know is how to fly a plane. That's a problem. You need to be adaptable and be able to, you know, jump over those obstacles and take a different path, and just at least be willing, let your mind be willing to take a different route if the need should arise. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already. See you on the next video. Leave us a comment. Today's comment is going to be specialist versus jack of all trades. Which one are you? Thanks for joining in on these random thoughts of mine as I walk down this country dirt road. See you next time. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head, million dreams keeping me awake. Theater never worked for me either.